If you've been keeping up with all of the new lore releases for Warhammer 40K and the Horus Heresy, first of all, that's a lot of reading. But second of all, we are all awaiting the new Scouring series, the natural successor of the Horus Heresy, and a direct continuation of where we just left off. And very recently, we were shown our first title, Ashes of the Imperium. The Emperor has beaten Horus in the end and the death. His favorite son's soul has been destroyed in Era of Ruin, and the Master of Mankind has collapsed. A sliver away from death, and in his last second of consciousness, has used his tarot cards to tell Rogal Dorn to put him on the Golden Throne. Or did he? Somehow, some crazy lucky German redditor got his hands on the new novel at the Frankfurt Book Fair and has given it a full read, and indeed actually shared the entire story on Reddit. While I myself don't really mind spoilers, this is my job after all, I know many of you do, and I don't want to be the guy ruining it for you. So instead of sharing the entire story way before release, I just want to talk about 5 insane lore developments that I picked up on that I think are going to change everything. Alright, let's get into the lore. So someone on Reddit has somehow gotten their hands on the Ashes of Imperium novel early, and not only read it, but also shared their spoiler summary. Keep in mind, this book was released in Germany with a German translation, so we are not gonna take anything verbatim here, just talking about the broad strokes of the 5 massive lore developments. But once again, this video will include some spoilers. Ashes of the Imperium will release in late December or at some point in the beginning of January, and when it does, I will make a video covering it properly. Without further ado, Rogal Dorn realizes Guilliman saved him and almost kills the entire palace for it. Terra is devastated. From the Siege of Terra series, including Era of Ruin, we have learned that humanity's cradle is under threat of complete starvation. Both the richest of the rich and the poorest refugees are in desperate need of aid. And while Rogal Dorn has bitterly defended every inch of Terra, it is Roboute Guilliman who is now heralded as a savior. He is bringing supplies and nearly a year's worth of food and necessary materials. In one of the earlier novels, Sanguinius stated that the last time he spoke to Guilliman, he was collecting every man, soldier and supply ship in the entirety of Segmentum Ultima to come help Terra. But as is in character for the Lord of Macragge, Guilliman has brought with him way more than just war materials. Food, medicine, water and many other necessities are being provided by the Ultramarines. Their arrival into the Sol system saw the Astartes scatter the already disunified and fleeing traitor forces. But it is ultimately his humanitarian efforts that would see them heralded as the saviors of Terra. Rogal Dorn, meanwhile, feels complete and utter resentment for Guilliman. He feels slighted by the people that he fought so hard for to defend, but he is able to keep control of himself, if just barely. To add insult to injury, Roboute Guilliman wants to take control of the Imperium, reconquer Luna and Mars, and gather strength before chasing the traitor legions. And of course, Dorn thinks this is foolish. Those can be sorted out later. They need to take the upper hand in the war and end the heretics before they can get away. But from one spicy confrontation between the loyalist Primarchs all the way to the Golden Throne, it seems like the throne did not actually survive the war, and only 20% is still functioning. The Golden Throne does not work. As early as 40K 7th edition, it was revealed that the Golden Throne was failing. Both the main rulebooks and the Vaults of Terra series set this plotline up. But now, 10,000 years before that, Ashes of the Imperium builds even more on this. In the Vaults of Terra series, we follow members of the Inquisition in a rather insane plot that involves the Dark Eldar helping the Imperials to try and save the Golden Throne. But at the same time, they are trying to clone the Emperor so they can fix their own demonic issue back in Comorra. From this same novel series, we uncover the horrifying fact that the Golden Throne is only a century away from failing, and that the damages and patchwork repairs it has received over time have become nearly unfixable at this point. In Ashes of the Imperium, we now learn that only 20% of the original Golden Throne remains. The Emperor is at the center of a screaming vortex. Worse yet, the Golden Throne is no longer in the place it is supposed to be, and is actively harming the Emperor instead of saving him. The Mechanicum are feeding an insane amount of power into the Golden Throne, trying to stabilize it. But there is nothing to gain from it in return. The Emperor was not saved when Dorn placed him here, and it is possibly implied that the Emperor was horrified by Dorn's actions. One of the Chosen of Malcador described the Emperor's aura as that of an eldritch horror, something that is fundamentally wrong, and as though it had been pulled from the other side of a mirror, which should not exist. Our beloved Master of Mankind is in complete and utter agony. Those custodians who still live are utterly mortified. We even see a custodian have an actual breakdown. Another raises his weapon against the Chosen of Malcador, making a genuine mistake, which is the first in thousands of years. Valdor, while present, is completely silent, even when the Primarchs begin their squabbling. But going back to Roboute one more time, he didn't just save Terra, apparently he also saved the Emperor of Mankind. Roboute Guilliman has been lauded as the savior of Terra, but while he nearly instantly comes into conflict with Rogal Dorn, there is a very good reason for this. Rogal Dorn, the High Lords, and some of the other generals want to launch a new crusade. The traitors are scattered, and now they must be destroyed. Yet Guilliman argues for caution, to not rush headlong into battle. Why? Well, it relates to the Emperor on the Golden Throne. Roboute Guilliman knows something his brothers don't. Namely, that the Emperor is not healing from his wounds. Guilliman already has a general plan, but he first needs to make sure the Imperium recaptures both Luna and Mars. Now, as I understand it, Guilliman is outnumbered when it comes to voting on the next course of action. So what does he do? Well, Guilliman takes the Sisters of Silence and uses them to make the Administratum choose his side, forcing the High Lords to vote in favor of Guilliman. When Roboute orders the Ultramarines Legion to assault Luna, they do so only with the help of the Blood Angels and Salamanders. The Dark Angels under Lion are focused on eliminating the last traitors on Terra, while the Space Wolves purge the wider Sol system of any stragglers. On Luna, we also learn that the Selenar, with a detachment of the Sons of Horus, including their chief apothecary, have been hard at work creating a new kind of Space Marine Legion during the Siege of Terra. This is a plot point from previous Siege of Terra novels being continued. On Luna, the Sons of Horus are joined by about 70,000 insane and feral Space Marines. With the help of some traitor titans, they fight off the Loyalists for a decent amount of time. This single battle is so horrific that the Ultramarines' chief librarian Titus thinks the Legion might get shattered. It is important to know that Luna was always the biggest challenge to the Emperor's authority during the Unification Wars, and this remains true until the very end. Yet there is more to capturing Luna than just exterminating the Selenar and traitor sons of Horus. A detachment of Blood Angels is sent to capture a specific location. Apparently, Luna has a massive vault underneath its surface. The chief librarian of the Ultramarines ends up joining them and completing their mission. And when the vault is opened, we learn why Guilliman wanted to capture Luna. Inside this vault are countless black ships. With these and the Sisters of Silence, the Great Tide can be restarted. The tide paid by every world to hand over their psychers. And yes, that is right, Roboute Guilliman is going to be the reason that the Emperor and the Golden Throne are fed 1,000 souls every single day. Before this, something like that was done only when the Emperor needed to leave the Golden Throne, like that time he entered the Webway, or when he left the throne so he could go fight Horus. But not just the Emperor is dead. He beat Horus so hard, the Chaos Gods are either dead, need to be reawakened, or are doing a very good job at hiding away for a bit. The Chaos Gods are dead, and Perturabo has a plan. The warp has calmed. There is no ebb and no flow. Yes, you heard that right. In Ashes of the Imperium, the death of Horus has literally calmed the warp. It is so calm in fact that psychers cannot even use their own powers. Roboute Guilliman thinks the Chaos Gods are dead, having died along with Horus. And this is another point of contention between both Guilliman and Dorn. Truth is, the Chaos Gods have been so badly damaged and hurt by the Emperor that they have fallen back to sleep. The Wordbearers have already begun an actual galaxy-wide plot to reawaken them. For this, they need to cause as much pain as possible to reawaken their pantheon. Their primary plan is to make the Imperium think that the Traitor Legions and Chaos Gods are far from defeated, and with this new ensuing war, they could bring back the ruinous powers through the turmoil in real space. There is, however, a very serious issue we have to talk about. Perturabo has his own plan. He wants to try and master chaos as a weapon, and for this, he is delaying Lorgar so he can learn more before making his own plan. Now, I have already made a video about Perturabo and his possible return in 40k. In that video, I talk about the Iron Cage incident, and through sacrificing hundreds of Imperial Fist gene seed, Perturabo has become a demon Primarch. We learned this from Index Astartes 1, printed in 2002, which essentially was a collection of White Dwarf articles talking about each legion. Back then, there was no given reason for why Perturabo would do this. A couple of decades later, with the release of the Siege of Terra, we find out that Perturabo is trying to turn himself into a perfect weapon. And now it seems like the Scouring is gonna set up why he became a demon prince and how he learned of what he actually had to do. And for number 5, I want to cover the loss of Malcador, which was apparently a larger hit to the Imperium than the loss of the Emperor of Mankind. It has been speculated by many that the Imperium's greatest loss during the Horus Heresy was Malcador the Hero. Something that Ashes of the Imperium 100% agrees with, and something it even explores in detail. The aforementioned Chosen of Malcador lose all of their political power without their master. According to the Chosen of Malcador, right now is the moment to reform the Imperium and create a system where the Primarchs and Space Marines will not be the leaders of humanity, only its soldiers and generals. But without the hero, there is nothing they can do to set the Imperium straight and get it on a path that is actually helpful. The politics of the Imperium, especially everything involving Terra and the High Lords, have always been fascinating. The belief of Malcador's chosen falls right in line with the hero himself. The fact that the Emperor was giving power to Malcador and the politicians on Terra was actually one of the reasons why the traitor legions betrayed the Imperium. From their point of view, they built the Imperium. Their blood watered its ground, and the sacrifice of their battle brothers was its foundation. These human leaders were usurpers whispering into the Emperor's ear. Now, with the death of Malcador, the age of the Imperium as we know it today has begun. The Imperium will ruin itself in the coming millennia, yet Malcador's last gifts to the Imperium, the Officio Assassinorum, the Grey Knights, and the Inquisition would prove pivotal in trying to keep humanity alive. One of Malcador's chosen, Khaled Hassan, will even become the first Grandmaster of the Assassins and become a High Lord of Terra. As I said earlier, all of this is me reading someone else's translated summary. I personally believe this person has actually read the novel, as they do have evidence of having a physical copy, and it does line up with other leaks we have seen before. But perhaps I have been tricked, or possibly even bamboozled, or something has been lost in translation. In any case, I 100% suggest you read this novel when it releases. I am looking forward to this new era of Warhammer 40K fiction. It feels like 2006 when Horus Rising first came out all over again, and it's great. But what do you think of all of this? Are you excited for the new Ashes of the Imperium novel? Or are you looking forward to the new normal 40k books? Maybe something about Captain Titus? That 500 worlds expansion is looking mighty fine. Let me know your comments, concerns, suggestions, theories and ideas down in the comment section below. If you think I deserved it with this video, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. Once the actual book comes out, I will of course be making more videos about it. Thank you for watching, and I will be seeing you guys in the next one. Bye bye.